even more awesome data now. I gave a little bit of an overview in my hilarious slides at the front, but now we have some proper data from data.ai. So I'm pleased to welcome to the stage to give us an insight to the state of mobile gaming, Chris Uglietta from data.ai. Round of applause for Chris, please.
I'm actually not a full Texan. I moved to Texas from New York in 2008, so no accent. Sorry to disappoint you, but glad to be in this beautiful city, still a little jet lagged. I'm Chris Uglietta. I lead games marketing at data.ai. You may remember us as App Annie. Data.ai is now App Annie is now data.ai. And what that means is we wanted to align our brand with how we go about providing data. And we're the first unified data AI company, which means we pull data from multiple sources and we use AI to make sure that the quality of the data and the accuracy is spot on. We're going to do a lot more exciting things with AI down the road with our exciting product roadmap. So stop by our booth to hear about that, please. We also work with a number of innovative companies. A lot of the best companies in the apps and mobile game space trust us, and so should you. None of this is financial advice, especially coming from me. So please, you don't need to read the disclaimer, but take it what it is. This is going to be a mixed message story. I'm going to start with the state of the app ecosystem, down into games, and then into what's happening with a few areas in the game genre. So let's start looking at the app ecosystem. And the message here is that mobile performance has plateaued, not the ecosystem. Performance is something I add in a later version of this deck. And so, we see that global demand for downloads across the board, including apps, is softening in terms of the growth rate. And that's to be expected given what's going on in the economy and everything else. And we'll see that spend is kind of following that same trajectory even more dramatically. So the space for apps is great in terms of new apps coming in, et cetera. But of course, the global macroeconomic forces are beginning to be reflected in this data. And of course, the latest changes we're seeing real time here ought to be even more dramatic as we see it. But we do see quite a bit of decline in spend. And let's take a look here at time spent. So spending less, but time spent not quite as a drastic reduction. So folks are just being more discriminate as to where they put their money when they open your game or app as well. And that makes sense as disposable income is going down. And maybe in this case we're spending less on not having Netflix and a variety of other streaming services. Maybe we just have one or two instead of three. Again, another look at the global app economy. We see spend in the middle has taken a pretty good dive, whereas time spent, total hours, is continuing to grow. So, still the habits we've developed during COVID of, always having our phone, that's not changing. It's in fact growing. But when we decide to buy is certainly changing. So more competitive there, absolutely. And again, time increasing, dollars decreasing. Let's take a look at year over year. This is top 20 mobile markets for the first half of 2022. So this is the freshest data we have. And total time is up across the board, 11% across all geos. We see some significant growth there in China and India and some of the emerging markets as well. Mobile usage, so time up again. We see significant growth continuing in the US and then some of the European countries as well. So just to kind of round out that story, we're still using our phones, we're still on them in the app world. I'm going to jump to App Store spend decrease. So top 20 mobile markets, we see in the US on the far left, we have stepped down in app spend. So maybe that means we're doing one less Uber Eats or DoorDash order a week or one less subscription. But the good news is that we'll get into later is we're not seeing quite as much of decline in gaming. So this isn't all bad news. I really just wanted to provide a context between App Store spend versus gaming and how people are thinking about their spend. Again, spend decrease we can see for the top 20 mobile markets. So let's jump into gaming. Here's those same three charts. So this is month to month for 2022 for games globally. And we see downloads holding pretty steady. Spend, after a little bit of a decline earlier in the year, has come back super strong. That's exciting to see, especially coming out of typically a summer slump as we get closer to the holidays. So that makes me pretty bullish, not financial advice. And then total hours continues to remain strong and grow. So we want to play games. We're spending our time there. Our users, our players are spending time there, and spend is going up. But of course, it's more of a competitive environment as well. Looking across all of those together, I'm sorry, I've got some duplicate slides in here. Okay. So gaming is really continuing to sop up more of that share of wallet, likely versus other forms of entertainment. We see that here in a lot of the largest markets, including the US. You see the second column there for the United States. Really big jump 2020 to 2021 in terms of game spend, in terms of share of wallet. So customers who have really discovered games maybe through COVID time period or just through new genres or new marketing to those demographics have really stayed on and are continuing to show that they find value in what we do. That's on iOS, that data. And this is what I was saying earlier, is the mobile ecosystem is healthier than ever. So publishers have released 1.7 million new apps and 300,000 new games. So we just see overall a lot of opportunity in the space and a lot of supply leading to increased demand. And really this title, this slide is really meant to show that there's still a lot of opportunity for these new games to drive a ton of revenue. 174 of them have generated over $100 million in 2021. I'd consider that to be a pretty significant business, of course. So plenty of opportunity as well, even with some of the metrics getting a little flatter during this time period, and of course the global economic situation. And then growing inclusively. So about 50% of games now spend is female, and we see that Roblox leads that. And that doesn't surprise me. My daughter's 10 years old, and her number one ask is, can I have a Roblox gift card? My son is 8, same thing. So they may be playing different games within Roblox, but it's exciting to see just that this pie is kind of growing overall, and that it's inclusive. It's not only male dominated. And further, Gen Z, so these are your 10 to 25-year-olds, are gaining the most ground. As these are the folks we can monetize. So I know with my nephews and my kids, a lot of that is some allowance and sort of Christmas gifts and stuff, and the rest, I assume, comes from jobs. A lot of that coming from Japan and just kind of across Europe and South Korea, driven by a variety of games and a variety of genres. So nice to see that the Gen Z is really enjoying kind of the full gambit of games and genres out there. I want to take a look at some highlights across genres and just take a pause here. This is the Game IQ taxonomy. This is one of our big feature upgrades data AI subscriber can get, and allows us to look into specific genres and subgenres and then the features within them. And so from that, we can pull a lot of interesting insights. I'm going to kind of flash some here, but I encourage you, I don't know if we'll be able to do questions here, so come by the Data AI booth and we can walk through kind of a deeper level discussion, and we could even show you Game IQ. So hyper-casual or casual games, not a surprise they lead in downloads. That's the model there. That's not news. But I think what's interesting is that the type of game mechanic and the subgenres are constantly changing what's carrying that top spot in volume download. So using Game IQ, and if you're developing hyper-casual games or publishing hyper-casual games from small studios, taking a look at what's working and what's coming out of fashion real time is a big play here, as you know, a lot of these titles have a very simple mechanic, and they do get tired. So kind of seeing what's been played out, you may not want to mimic that game versus what's coming in, and what you could imagine could be derived from what's currently popular. Very smart move in this space enabled by Game IQ. Further on that same note, you know, it depends where you're publishing. So hyper-casual tastes differ by region. So, you know, what's popular in the US is going to be different than Brazil and Indonesia. Didn't realize we had so many animations here. And, you know, in terms of the recent continued success in gaming, in spend, you know, top 5 genres by growth in terms of download, 2022 versus 2021. We see a lot of simulation, creative sandbox, Roblox, shooting, etc. But what I think is interesting here is that RPG on the spend side continues to be super strong, with Fantasy Westward Journey leading globally in that genre. Let's take a look further at that. So RPG games are among the most successful genre for monetization. And we see that number 4 is slots, social casino, continues to kind of carry very high spend. I believe they have the highest spend per user in any genre. So interesting to see that while new users are coming in and enjoying some of these RPG games, that the classic slots genre, which has really not been known for generating a lot of new users, continues to drive really hard with their social features. And this is the kind of thing that you can unlock by looking at Game IQ from data.ai. Let me just take a quick look at the kind of things that Game IQ and particularly data.ai can help deliver. You know, we're great for competitive analysis, for ASO, developing your product roadmap. I'm going to be doing a seminar with Joe Kim coming up later this quarter to do feature analysis and expected outcomes modeling. Stay tuned for that. Please join our newsletter to learn more. And then business development. You know, what's a proper target? How do they fare with data.ai's mobile performance score? Expansion, and then optimizing your ad monetization. So that was a very quick, I think I went too quickly, view. I'd like to invite you to our booth to ask any questions or get a deeper view of this. This deck will be available as well for you to consume. There's a lot of information there and probably something that we should chat about. Thank you for joining today. Appreciate your time.
Go. Wow, that was very rapid. That was very rapid. I would normally pause for questions, but we are a bit late, and you've already invited people to your booth.
Yes.
So do go and see Chris on his booth, but we're going to move straight along because
thank you.
Not your fault, but we were late. But thank you for being brief.
Very good.
But it's great data. Fantastic.
Thank you.